Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Hope you guys are doing well today. We're going to be looking at a watch that I've truly fallen in love with over the last couple of weeks. It is a Jaeger LeCoultre triple calendar from the 1940s. The reference is 2904. I really have fallen in love with this piece. It literally has not come off of my wrist unless I was taking maybe a couple pictures for Instagram of some other watches. It really is one of the most beautiful watches, in my opinion, that was produced by Jaeger LeCoultre, by any watch company in the 1940s. And so I'm very, very excited to do a close-up video on this piece to show how beautiful this watch really is and significant in the grand scheme of JLC's history and what they were able to produce. A lot of these pieces, let me see if I can just get a quick shot for you just before we get into this. A lot of these pieces, I'm sure you've probably seen some JLCs with this triple calendar complication, but it also has a moon phase at 6 o'clock. We actually had one for it was on Life on the Wrist last year, I believe, with a moon phase. But this one is just the triple calendar complications. You have a date, day of the week, and then month in this triple step beautiful case with these teardrop lugs. It really is a beautiful piece. So I will stop gossiping about this watch, and I'll flip perspectives so you can take a look at this really beautiful example. All right, super excited to jump into this absolutely phenomenal Jaeger LeCoultre triple calendar reference 2904. As you can see, the piece is right here in the middle of your screen. I'm going to zoom in so you can take a look at it here. See just a couple of more images of this piece. Again, I'm new to this camera work, so please bear with me while I'm sort of figuring it all out, but it's such a beautiful piece, and I'm just I'm really honored, honestly, to be able to feature it on this in a video and in an article on the website. So this is the piece that I have been, honestly, it's been on my wrist for basically non-stop since I got this piece in. This is, if I can get the focus going here, this is a triple calendar moon phase from Jaeger LeCoultre, or JLC, that was produced in the 1940s. Obviously, it's a well-known fact that JLC is known as the watchmaker's watchmaker. They produced a lot of different movements for brands throughout their time, and are known for producing really high quality movements that are used in were used by brands like Vacheron Constantin, IWC, and Audemars Piguet. I think this is a great example of what they were really capable of when it came to complicated pieces, and also demonstrates the classic watchmaking that they do produce. So the triple calendar moon phase was a complication that has become increasingly popular by collectors as they sort of turn to traditional or classic watchmaking and watches that look sort of that part. It's documented that to commemorate the life and the work of Jacques-David LeCoultre, who passed away in 1948, Jaeger LeCoultre produced the caliber 484-1A calendar movement. That is the movement that is featured inside of this watch here. There are about 5,000 of those movements that were produced, and they were used in various versions of the JLC triple calendar watches throughout the years. Some in round cases, some in rectangular cases, and in my mind, every single one of them has its own beauty when you really look at it. It's known that there were about 500 that were cased in gold and were only distributed in the European market, and the remainder were distributed in the USA with either a steel or gold filled case. They varied in they varied between being a round and rectangular shaped case. Now, the triple calendar moon phase complications is not new to Jaeger LeCoultre. They actually produced a couple of movements before the 484, which you see in this watch here. The caliber 451 was introduced in 1943, and then the caliber 464 was introduced in 1944. The reference 2904 came with two different dial configurations, which is the reference that you're looking at here. As you can see, this watch has applied hour markers, almost like sword hands. Of course, when I start talking about the dial, my focus shifts. I will need to just get it back here. There we go. So as you can see on this piece, it has these sort of applied sword and triangle hour markers that run on the outside of the watch. The 2904 also came with applied numerals, except the 12, 9, and 3 markers had numerals instead of these indices, or these sort of like sword-shaped characteristics. The reference was produced until 1949. This one dates to early 1940s, probably 1943. Excuse me, not 1943. Maybe sort of like mid 1940s. Just to describe this piece a little bit more, as you can see, the 2904 features a triple calendar complication. This is not an annual calendar, which is something that can run for a year and be precise. This watch has a couple of complications. As you can see, hours and minutes hand in the center. You have a subdial at 6 o'clock with the seconds. You then have this red arrowed pointer hand, which is which points to this ring that runs the outside along the outside of the case, or excuse me, of the dial, and points to the date of the month. You then have these two windows that you can see right here, which is for the month. And then behind the hour and minutes hand, let me move the hands out of the way so you can see it. You have just need to get it concentrated here. Again, I apologize. One day I will be better at this. You have the month here, and then you have the day of the week next to it. So a real classical looking watch with some really great complications that you get in a lot of other classical watches of this time. The case is stainless steel, 36 millimeters, and one of the really cool features of this case, I think, is this triple stepped case that you can see here. I think it gives the watch, honestly, it's a feel of its own, which I think is quite cool. You then have these teardrop lugs, which extend quite heavily outside of the case and actually make it fit really a lot larger than you would imagine. 36 millimeters would fit, and I'll put it on my wrist so you can see it, but a really beautiful piece. Stainless steel case back, housing the reference for the caliber 484 that I mentioned. The overall aesthetics of this piece, I've sort of gone over the case, which is something I really like. I also think the dial has aged quite nicely. Beautiful. I think it originally was sort of a wider cream dial. This has faded really nicely to this, nicely and evenly, which I think is really important. The date ring has also faded a little bit darker than the inside, sort of the center disc ring that you see there. There is a little bit of an uneven patina on that subdial, but I don't think it takes away from the overall aesthetic of this piece in my mind. I'll put on this piece so you can see it on the wrist. I'll also just show you what I'm wearing on the wrist today. This is a, if I can get the focus, here I'll take it off my wrist. It's probably might be easier to do that. What I have on the wrist today is a piece I don't think you will have seen. It might have been featured. I might have featured it on our Instagram. Jeez, focus on this guy is really tough. But what you're gonna see here is a Bulova 666 feet diver that is on this beads of rice bracelet. Really, really happy with that piece. But I will put this watch on my wrist. If you follow us on Instagram, you've probably seen quite a few wrist shots of this piece, because it is something that it's a watch that I didn't really want to take off my wrist. So let me get the focus here so you can see. There you go. So what you can see here is on my wrist, 36 millimeters, 36 millimeter case, but what you can see is these teardrop lugs extend quite long outside of the case and actually fit my wrist really nicely. It definitely fits a little bit on the larger side because of that, and I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. It's on this leather strap that I think actually goes quite nicely with it. It's kind of got this red hue to it, which matches the pointer date and also the obviously the font of the week and the month, which I think looks really great too, and obviously the font of the date ring that you see on the outside of the watch. Complications have become increasingly popular by watch collectors, and I think that this is a really great example of something that is interesting, tells the story of one of the most famous brands when it comes to watchmaking, but also just watch collecting in general. And I think the watches that they produced during this era are phenomenal. You might have seen a watch similar to this on this channel or on our website. I think last year we had a triple calendar moon phase, which is a variation of this this piece where you actually had a moon phase on the second subdial, which I think also looked really great. But follows similar complications, and obviously the classical styling of the moon phase kind of gives it an extra little bit of nostalgia to those, to an era where those kind of complications we're seeing on watches maybe a little bit more. They're definitely coming back, which I think is definitely nice to see. So that is the watch that we're looking at today. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at it, and with that said, let me flip perspectives so we can close out the video. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this extremely beautiful example of this Jaeger LeCoultre reference 2904 from the 1940s. As I said, I think this is one of the most beautiful complications that you can get, one of the most beautiful iterations of the triple calendar that has been produced over the last 100 years, and a very accessible point to get a piece that looks so classic and beautiful, and allows you to enjoy what these watch companies are able to produce. This watch is available in our store if you want to check it out there. We also will have an article with more information about this reference, this specific piece, so if you want to read that article, be sure to head over to lifefromtherest.com if you want to see it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you like these types of videos, and share it with a friend who likes watches. Always happy to have a new person in the Life from the Rest family. If you wouldn't mind leaving a comment in the comment section below what you think about this specific piece, and if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button for me, it really does help me out. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time.